I really love what I do, but it's so much more than what I thought it was going to be. I thought basically that I was just going to be opening up the doors for people to look at houses. You see them on, HGTV, they open up the door and they're like, here's your house. I mean, that's like probably 2% of what I do. It's also things like everything was always negotiable. And I'm not sure, like my business personally hasn't changed any because I have always been upfront with my clients.
One of my tenets of my business is brutal honesty. Whether it's going to, and I try to, let them down easy or, explain things in a way that's not mean-spirited or...
Right, yeah, I'm not rude, but I'm just like...
But I'm not going to sugarcoat things that you really need to know. Welcome back to the Mind Your Own Business podcast. Today's guest is JoAnn Keahey. And JoAnn, tell us a little bit about yourself and your business.
Well, thank you first for having me here.
Absolutely.
Like you said, JoAnn Keahey. I am a local realtor, mostly based in Houston, Jefferson, and Braselton. And I work for Berkshire Hathaway Home Services, and I love to help people move into the community or move into a different house in the community.
And you've been in Jackson County for a long time, right?
I was thinking about that when I was coming here. I think 22 years ago, we bought our house here in Jackson County.
So you were before the big boom. I guess it's a lot different today than it was 22 years ago, right?
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. My kids have grown up here. They went to Jackson County High School. All the Gum Springs. My youngest was the first in the first kindergarten class at Gum Springs Elementary.
Cool.
And then they went to the high school. They've graduated in 19 and 21, but went through the system here.
Nice. And so Jackson County, from everything I've heard, is one of the 4 fastest growing counties in the country. Or is that what your understanding is?
I think it's number 1 in Georgia.
Yeah.
It's really growing fast.
Why do you think people are moving to Jackson County specifically?
Well, I moved here. That's a long time ago, but I moved here because I loved the community and the feeling. And I kind of liked, I should probably know if I should say this, but I liked the kind of more country, but it was still close enough to get to the airport. My husband is a pilot, so he had to have access to the airport, but we wanted to be a little bit further away so we could, do community, like have community for our kids.
Gotcha. So your husband's a pilot. Does he go to Hartsfield?
Oh, he's retired now.
Cool.
Yeah.
Did he drive to Hartsfield and then fly out of there?
No, he was
airport?
Charlie Brown, or Fulton County Airport.
Okay.
Yeah. Cool. So by Six Flags.
Gotcha.
So it was a far drive every day.
Awesome. Your clients that are moving to Jackson County, the Jefferson Houston area, what are some things that they may not know about that they should know before they start looking? One
of the things that I think Jackson County and like Jefferson even specifically is the community. There's the football games. There's, getting together and doing all the sports and, not everybody has children, but it's a community feel and really involved, really involved community. There's something I think for everyone, really.
Yeah. We take our football seriously here.
We do. And
I think Jefferson is in the state championship now.
Jackson County went to I think it was the second round they went to. They were just defeated last week. And how far did I follow Jackson County more than 10%? I'm sorry.
I think Jefferson won their playoff game last Friday. So they're going to the state championship is what I understand.
Wow. So that's amazing.
Yeah.
I know I should probably be a little bit more. I like them both. I'll be more neutral.
But nonetheless,
my kids went there, so I'm a little bit of an alumni for Jackson County, but we always had a great rivalry with Jefferson, and it was fun playing.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
But point being, big football community.
Yes. Two great high schools. Yeah. So you can choose from 2 different great high schools.
Well, there's also East Jackson. There's Commerce. We've got another one coming soon.
Yeah. I think it's going to be called Houston High School.
Something like that. Yeah.
I was just asking somebody in the county. I was like, now what is the final name? And I thought the last time I heard was Houston High School, but I don't know. I'm not on the planning committee, but I think that's what I heard.
Yeah, that's going to be over on the west side, obviously in Houston.
Yeah, 332.
Yeah, that part of town is booming.
Yes.
Obviously.
Yeah, for sure. Busy, more homes, more people coming to the area.
Gotcha. So, what do you think the market specifically in Jackson County is doing? Is it cooling down? Is it heating up? Is it staying steady? What are you seeing?
I've been I've been very busy. I'm blessed, to stay busy. So the hints of the rates going down, makes the buyers come out more. So I think in 2026, we're going to get even busier.
Great.
But that's just my guess.
Gotcha. Are there any changes coming soon to the industry? Or is there anything on your radar that you're looking out for that your clients or potential clients may want to think about before they get ready to buy in the spring?
As far as what?
Well, as far as, are there any laws changing? Are there any interest rates on the horizon, changes coming as far as the Fed?
Well, we keep hearing that the interest rates are going to go down. My one client they just closed last week. They were like 7.12. So it's definitely better. For a while there, it was in the mid 7s and 8s. So I don't want to be a mortgage expert, but it does seem that there's going to be some reductions next year.
Gotcha.
That's what we're all hoping for. But we're waiting, but we have to patiently wait for that.
Gotcha. And I think, if I understand it correctly, there was a law that passed last year or recently, broker buyer commission rule, something that affected me when I bought my office. Could you tell us a little bit about that change and what that means for the industry?
So there was a lot of, I don't know if confusion is the right word, but basically what they were hoping with that law is to provide more clarity for the buyers. But basically the bottom line the lawsuit was to bring clarity, but if you dig into it and you look into it, everything was always negotiable. And I'm not sure, like my business personally hasn't changed any because I have always been upfront with my clients. And we have a meeting, like an hour meeting, and we go over all the compensation, who pays for what the fees are, what my fees are, not industry fees, what my fees are. And we go over everything. So we go step by step what it's going to be. So I think that was the intention of the law, was the clarity. But I think most of the realtors that are thorough, they were already doing that. And everything's always been negotiable. So
it didn't really change much. It just, the law was that basically you've got to be upfront with your clients about what your fees are.
And that's what a good realtor should do anyways, is be upfront.
Agreed.
And
a good lawyer too, right? What are your fees, right?
Yeah, I mean, like if you have somebody coming to you, you tell them this is what's going to happen, A, B, C, and then you know what to expect. And I do the same thing. And I think the people that were already doing the right thing didn't even blink an eye because they were already doing the right things.
Gotcha.
So
it didn't really affect your business because you've been doing the right thing for
It didn't impact me at all because I was already up. I tell people, I'm like, I'm not for everyone. I can be blunt. I tell it like it is, and I feel like honesty is the best policy. If they don't like it, that's fine. That's fine. Maybe I'm not the right person for you, but I feel like being honest is, and that's why people actually like working with me, is because I'm honest.
I love that. And I think I try to follow that same philosophy.
Right.
One of my tenets of my business is brutal honesty, whether it's and I try to, let them down easy or, explain things in a way that's not mean spirited or.
Right. Yeah. I'm not rude, but I'm just like.
But I'm not going to sugarcoat things that you really need to know. I'm going to give it to you. If we're
pricing a house, I'm not going to say, yes, let's do it just because you want to. We base it on facts and things that are going on in the neighborhood and, what's going on in the area. And there's always a reason for everything. And to tell somebody what they want to hear isn't the right way to do business, in my opinion.
So if the comps in the neighborhood are 500, you're not going to list their house for 750 just because they think it's the most beautiful
because
house.
That's what they need to get out of the house. Well, that's not really relevant to the buyer. It's what they're willing to pay for the house.
Yeah, it's what the market will do, not what
it's not
they have in their mind.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the honesty that people need to hear. Sometimes they don't want to hear.
And if I need to not work with somebody, that's fine, because I believe in being honest and transparent.
So how do you find your people to work with, or how did the people find you?
Mostly referrals from past clients or from other agents. Most of my business is probably 80% is referral. And I'm part of the BNI network, and I have agent referrals from all over the country. And so we will work, and people that are relocating to our area, and I'll help them move here.
Okay. So for people that don't know about BNI, can you tell us a little bit about what it is?
So it's a closed networking company, business, and there's different seats. And I'm not sure how much depth you want me to go into, but basically we network with other small businesses to basically provide good referrals. And basically we're like a sales force for other companies to help them grow their businesses as well and refer other people.
Right. So when you say closed networking group, so there's one seat for each sort of industry. So as far as personal injury lawyers, I have the seat for personal injury.
Yes.
So no other personal injury attorney can come in, but maybe a trusted estate planning attorney can come in.
Exactly.
But the goal is that everybody in that group will refer a personal injury client to me, and then I will refer my clients who need help with need a realtor. I will refer them to you, or if there's a plumber, I would refer clients to a plumber, and then you sort of share business and try to get to know each other and just grow your business organically through that networking group.
I mean, and there is a lot of vetting. We check their references, before they're allowed into the network, but and we get to know each other really well. So it's not just I refer somebody because they're in there.
Right.
It's because I trust them and I've gotten to know them, and I feel confident that they're going to do a good job. So it's not just because they're there.
Right. They do quality work, and they're not ambulance chasers or fly by night, businesses, but they're people who are invested in the community that want to be here and want to, I guess, get the word out that they're here and ready to do business, right?
Yes.
What are some things that you think in this current climate that home buyers need to be aware of before they go out looking?
Well, I think with anything is, first of all, you need to get with a lender and see what you're approved for. Like I always tell somebody, you don't want to go looking at houses that are above your range because that's just painful for everybody, right? So, make sure that you're qualified. And, then I go through like all the steps of, what's going to happen from A to B. Like I have a buyer map that goes through the different process. Is that what you're asking? Like,
well, just any tips that you could give a buyer to get ready for maybe the spring and selling or buying season.
And I think it takes longer than you think it does. So I always tell people, like, even if they're going to be buying a home next year, to reach out to the lender now, interview your lenders, make sure you ask them, all the questions. Like I have some referral lenders that I work with. I'm happy to work with other lenders too. But, what's important to me is that they will actually get the job done, that they'll close when they say they're going to do. Because I know, because I've worked with them, that they're going to do what they say they're going to do in a timely manner so that everything runs smoothly. So I'm not opposed to other lenders. That's not what I'm saying. But I have these partners that I can count on that I know time and time again they've done the work. So part of the process is talking to the lender and making sure that the credit score, all the papers, and they can get pre-qualified. And maybe there's a few things they need to work on for their credit. They can tweak things, and the lender will work with them they can often help raise their credit score to get them a better rate. So there's a lot of things you can do ahead of time, and the lender can talk to them about maybe there's some outstanding credit cards, things, maybe pay it down. So it's, I'm not a lender, but they have a lot of tips that they can work, things that they can do to help get them the best rate possible for their buying their house.
Great. So the first step would probably be to speak with a lender.
Yeah.
Figure out,
and more than one lender.
More than one. Shop around.
Yes.
Find somebody you're comfortable with who will tell you the truth, and basically what price range that you could start searching for a home in, right?
Yes.
Okay. On the selling side, if somebody wants to think about selling their house in the coming year, what advice would you give for those people?
I say on the selling side, it takes even longer. Like I am already talking with people that are going to be selling their home next year. So one of the things that I will do is I will do a walkthrough with the clients and, look at things that we might need to maybe small repairs or maybe painting, and we'll come up with a list of things to do so that the house is at the best possible, make it look as good as it can be ready for the market. And then they don't have to stress and try and get things done in like 2 months. You have to declutter, you're going to be moving anyways. So might as well pack up the stuff you're not using, make the house look great and do anything ahead of time. So basically it's kind of like a first date, you want to make the first impression of the house. So I meet with them as soon as possible just to go over that list. So it's as stress-free as possible.
Gotcha.
You can do it in phases and not in 1 month and have to, be stressed out about it.
Gotcha. So it sounds a little bit like my industry, personal injury. My clients will come to me and ask me, how long is this process going to take? It's never going to be a quick, you get your check next week. So it sounds like the same thing with selling a home. It's going to take you a little while to get your ducks in a row, get ready, declutter the house, get it ready for the market. It's not going to be an overnight process. What are some things that you think people getting into the industry, potential realtors, need to know about the industry? What are the down and dirty secrets of what it's like to be a realtor?
I really love what I do, but it's so much more than what I thought it was going to be. I thought basically that I was just going to be opening up the doors for people to look at houses. You see them on, HGTV, they open up the door and they're like, here's your house. That's like probably 2% of what I do. It's also things like contracts. Every year the contracts change 2 times a year. It's me going to all the classes, learning all the contract. There's so many things that I do from start to finish to protect my clients, it's all about helping them get into a home or sell their home as easily as possible. But there's so many steps. When somebody sells a house, I think it's like 144 steps that I have, like a checklist.
Oh, wow.
And the buyers might be just a tad less than that. I keep updating it, but every person I work with, I go through all these steps to make sure, that we go through, it's a lot.
Gotcha.
So as somebody coming in, just know that it's way more. It's more than I ever thought it was, but I love the challenge and I love helping people. So that's one of the reasons that I got into it, because I love helping other people.
Gotcha. So it's not just opening the lockbox, walking into a beautiful house.
That's
the buyer falls in love with it,
yeah.
And the contract is signed and everything is
Then,
beautiful.
First of all, you write a good contract that protects them, home warranties, there's so many different things, make sure that the septic, that's one of the reasons I got into it too, was when I bought my first house, I was like, the agent was the builder and she represented me too. So I think about different things like the buyer's agent, the buyer needs to be protected. Not that the seller's agent isn't a good agent, but they're representing.
They have different interests, right?
Interests.
Right.
Yeah. So about that.
There's a potential conflict of interest, right? So the seller has to have their representation and the buyer should have their own.
That's my opinion, because, if there's one person representing, but legally in Georgia, I could represent the buyer and the seller, but I never do that. I don't, I won't do that. I will refer them to somebody else or, have somebody else work with them, because I can't represent them both at the same time.
Because,
like you said, it's a conflict of interest to me. I can legally do it, but I'm not doing that.
And it's insane to me that it's legal, right? Because the more that you're representing the seller, they want the most money. The buyer wants to get the house for the least amount of money. Yeah. So somebody's going to win, somebody's going to lose, right?
Right. That's the largest purchase most people are going to make. Besides your investments, that's the largest purchase, most people make in their life, and they need to be protected and they need somebody to watch out for their back, not, both sides can win and get a great contract and do things, but I think the best way is to have somebody represent the seller and somebody to represent the buyer.
I agree.
That's my personal opinion.
Yeah. And you said it's the biggest purchase that usually people are going to make. And it's probably the most important purchase in somebody's life, because it's the foundation for where you're going to live, where your children are going to grow up. Yeah, you build wealth, usually through your home, appreciating.
Yeah, the equity, and that's the other thing too, is one of the big things when you're a real estate agent, or I do, is if a buyer wants to buy a house, I do comps as if they were selling the house, and I find out exactly what I think the home is worth. And we go through all that together, because I don't want my clients to pay too much for a home, because I'm trying to help protect their I'm not like some agents. I don't want them to overpay, even though we won't go into that part, but I want them to be protected in their best interests.
Perfect. So how did you get started in the industry?
Gosh. So I was a stay-at-home mom, and my kids finally got their driver's license and they were back to school, back driving, excuse me. And I just decided, I started thinking about all the things I wanted to do. And I've always loved real estate, and I just wanted to help. My nature is to take care of people too. And I don't know, I just somehow thought that was going to be a good career for me. And I investigated and learned more, and I've really loved my choice to.
Gotcha. So you're currently with Berkshire Hathaway. Have you been with another agency before that?
Mostly with them. I for 1 year briefly, I tried a cloud business, which there's no brick and mortar, if you call it. Mm-hmm. And I love the company, but for me, I like the business, like having the building. And I just left with them briefly and came back to Berkshire Hathaway because, I talked to other people, and I just really love Berkshire Hathaway. A lot of clients come to my office. I'll do client events at my office, and I loved having a place for them to come.
Do you have any tips for people during the due diligence period to make sure that what they're buying is basically what they know that they're getting? Does that make sense?
Okay, yeah. So in Georgia, it's a buyer beware. It is their responsibility to inspect the home. Mm-hmm. It's buyer beware, basically. In the due diligence period, which we write in the contract, let's say it's 7 days, they'll have 7 days to basically check everything out of the house. I'm huge on inspections, like a home inspector, always get the home inspected. And then, there might be other inspections they might want to consider, radon, mold, whatever they feel need to make them feel comfortable. But usually the inspector will alert them if there is an issue, like I'm noticing some mold or something in the shower, and then you can investigate that further. But at the bare minimum, to do an inspection so that they know that by the end of the due diligence, that if they want to proceed, that they feel confident that the home, is what they want.
Yeah, I think that's great advice because obviously everybody should get an inspection, but people may not understand really the importance of the buyer beware law, right? That, it's on you to dig in and find these things. It's not necessarily on the home seller, except for they can't fraudulently hide things.
Right. There's a seller's disclosure.
Yeah.
So they are supposed to, report everything, any issues, like in it also, the seller's disclosure, has like the ages of the main things like the HVAC, the roof, those kind of things. And then if they have any known issues, they're supposed to disclose them. But then, they have that information. And then with that information plus, the inspection, then usually there's a pretty good, of that day, like of what the house is looking like. There's no way in 3 hours to get every single like tiny thing, but they are pretty thorough with like a 70, 80 page inspection report. And, they do a really thorough job, to make sure that the house is what the buyer or seller, what they want.
Right. Besides being brutally honest with people, what does it look like to work with you, JoAnn?
So I am huge on systems. Like I said, I'm crazy with my checklists, but I'm also, when I meet with somebody, I've got a packet of information. What to expect. I have a Trello board that I use. I organize everything so they can log into their Trello board and they can see, okay, here's all my contracts. Here's my important dates of the contract. Like if we're looking for a house, it might be all the houses they've looked at. And then the things that like the seller's disclosure and all that are on that board. They can look at all that stuff to keep themselves organized instead of digging through emails and trying to find everything. So I'm very, very detailed and I like systems. I have a transaction coordinator. She helps organize things in the back end, but we keep everything very organized so they know what to expect. And there's like a to-do list, like what comes in, this is what we're doing now. This is what we do next. And there's a process, and I'm very process and system oriented. to help them be as stress-free as possible.
That's important, so that people know what's coming, what to expect, so they're not left wondering.
I think that's the hardest thing.
What's going on.
They don't know what to expect is, I'm pretty clear what's coming next. So
Gotcha. And explain what's a Trello board. Can you explain that to us?
It's basically just an organizational tool. Like there's Monday, Trello, those different.
It's an online sort of dashboard.
App. So it can work on your cell phone and it syncs with your laptop or computer too. But it's basically, if they open it up, I didn't bring my laptop with me. I should have done that, but I can talk about it if they call me and ask me questions. But it's basically my way of organizing the back end and the front end. They each have their own board. Each client has their own board, whether they're buying or selling. There's one geared for buyers, one geared for sellers, but it helps keep them completely organized and everything is in there, and they can write me messages in there, but just keeps them organized so they know what's going on.
Gotcha. So it's one dashboard where they can log in, see everything, all their documents, all their to-dos, and get a clear picture of the process there.
Right. That's for the buyers. And if the sellers, like it has all my social media stuff that I do on there, like all the things that I do for marketing, any offers that we have, because we have to, legally present every offer. So every offer, and then what we decided to do with the offer. And then once we go under contract, then we have all the important dates. So they know like when due diligence ends. They know when the inspection is scheduled for. Everything is right there at your quote fingertips, so they can have all the information basically.
Gotcha. You mentioned marketing. What sort of approach do you take to marketing? My
approach for that is I want as many people as possible to be able to see the property. So I have a 8-week marketing plan basically, so that every week something different is happening. It might be a video, or it could be, I might boost, that might be, maybe we don't need to go to all the, I guess the different things, but or I run ads for, the property in different ways just to reach as many people as possible.
Okay. Cool. So, are you heavy into social media?
I'm trying to get even more. So yeah, I'm on Facebook and Instagram.
Gotcha.
And I'm starting into YouTube. But there's so many hats to wear. So it's
as a small business owner, there are a lot of hats to wear. I understand. Yeah. Do you find that a lot of buyers are looking on social media for homes?
100%. I want to say that I was trying to think of this statistic before I came in here. I think it's like 92% of people find their house are looking online. Wow. It's very few people that aren't online.
Gotcha.
And that's just the tiniest part is finding the home of. That's just the tiniest part of finding the home.
Finding the right house is the tiniest part of the whole process.
I mean, by the time, if you think about that and the contracts and, making sure the house is that's just a small part.
Yeah.
Is finding the home, believe it or not.
Yeah. Awesome.
So do you mind while I'm here, can I ask you a question?
Please.
So what can I tell my buyers or my sellers, from a legal standpoint, what can they do to help protect themselves?
Right. So for homeowners, once you own the home, I think you need to be careful when you invite guests and other people on your property about things that are what we call hidden defects, right? So if you know that there's something wrong with your property, you have to disclose that to people, because if they get injured and they know, and you knew that there was a problem and you didn't tell that person, you're liable.
So but you're saying when they're selling their house, or just when you have your guests in your house? Right.
So if you're the homeowner, so if you're the seller and somebody's coming over to look at it, for instance, I had a case years ago where a seller was selling a home and they were hiring an agent to come over and help market the place. She came out on the back deck to take pictures, and she stepped through a rotten board on the deck and she fell through. She injured herself severely. She didn't fall all the way to the ground, but she was injured severely, and that case ended up settling for the policy limits, which was a lot. But basically, because those homeowners knew that there were rotten wooden boards, we had liability. So they knew that the boards were rotten, and they had strategically placed certain patio furniture over them, most of the boards, to hide it, because they didn't want to go through the expense of fixing it before selling it. And then that that agent actually went out on the back deck, fell through one of them that was not covered up by a piece of furniture and hurt herself. And luckily for us, we had a 911 call where the homeowner told the 911 operator that she knew that there were boards rotten. She didn't know it was that bad, but basically she told on herself, admitted that she knew that it was a problem and didn't tell my client what was going on out there before letting her out on the back deck. So that's something where if you know that there are things like that, you've got to disclose that to anybody who comes on your property, whether that's a pizza delivery man or, your best friend's cousin or a real estate agent.
Right.
So that's something you got to be aware of.
So if it seems like common sense to me, but...
Right. If you know of a defect and people can't see it, right? Because you cannot... Those boards were painted that she didn't know it was rotten. She couldn't tell just by looking at them. But when she stepped on it, it was so soft that she fell right through. Yeah.
Okay. So obviously do the right thing. If you know there's something wrong with the house, get it fixed or repaired. But then if you know of something that needs to be fixed, then maybe a sign on the window
or just
something.
Tell the lady, hey, don't go out on that back deck. Or if you do, be very careful because, there's some rotten boards out there that I don't want you to fall through.
You want people to get hurt.
But decks are something that I think you should take care of, be aware, inspect every so often, and get repaired if it needs it.
So do you have a lot of people that have injuries from besides that lady with decks?
Not necessarily just decks, but premises liability cases where there's slip and falls, trip and falls, mostly with businesses, but it could happen to homeowners as well. So you want to look at your homeowner's insurance policy, make sure that's appropriate, the level, but also make sure that anybody who comes onto your property knows if there's any defects that you know of, that you disclose them to people.
Okay, so be upfront, let people know what's going on. Anything else you can think of, like if you're going to look at a house, is there anything from a legal standpoint for anything else that you can think of?
Yeah, I think we touched on it. Like the inspection is huge. I think I would, vet my inspector, make sure that they come with, some good reviews, the recommendations that they're going to do a thorough job. The things that you're worried about, maybe if the house is super old, you want to worry about different things than if the house was built in the 2000s. So I think that that's where you really want to protect yourself is by getting that inspection and knowing sort of the era that your house was built and what those issues to look out for.
Or, if it's
lead paint, asbestos, all those sort of things, depending on the age of the house. Yeah.
Okay, that's a good tip.
As a business owner yourself, have you had any legal pitfalls or hurdles or things that you've needed a lawyer for or wish you had a lawyer for? Or do you use ChatGPT in your business when you have a legal question? Any issues like that ever come up?
Well, any legal questions, I'll ask the real estate attorney that I work with because for writing contracts, there's stipulation, there could be a stipulation. And so I'm not a lawyer, so I, rely on you and other people that are other lawyers because we're an attorney state to make sure that if I have a special situation that it's worded correctly from the attorney.
Right. As far as that's sort of with the transaction with the real estate transaction.
Right.
That's understandable that you have the real estate specific attorney. But as far as your business, how you set your business up, how you maybe incorporated it or whatever, have you used any attorneys for any of those issues?
I haven't had a need yet. We do have an error and omissions.
Mm-hmm.
We have different policies. I did call my insurance company, just because I was thinking about things the different driving people in the car.
Yeah.
I changed my my coverage for. I am set up as an LLC, S corporation, to protect my business because I'm considered an independent contractor, even though I work for Berkshire Hathaway. So things like that. I haven't had to use an attorney yet for non-contract issues, but I'm always wanting to make sure that everything is as safe as possible for everybody, but I haven't had to use one yet.
Good. You're lucky.
Yeah. So I know who to call if I need something. Definitely call you to help us, but knock on wood, I haven't needed anything so far.
Gotcha. What is your message to Jackson County and the world? What do people need to know from JoAnn Keahey today? What's your message?
My message on life,
business,
marriage,
buying a home, whatever you think is most important right now.
I guess if you're in the market to buy a home, just take your time. There's no rush. Do all the steps, do it the right way to help protect yourself and your investment. And just check out the areas that you want to live. Visit the areas first. Like I love our community here, and just make sure that where you land is, I guess, where you want to be.
Yeah, I mean, we love our community here, but we're full, so go somewhere else.
Well,
right? We don't need any more.
We can take them to Hall County, or we can take them to Athens.
Just kidding.
I'm just kidding.
We're very welcoming.
Yeah.
Great. How can people find you?
You can call me. Should I give my phone number?
What's your phone number?
770-540-7610. I do answer my phone. You can call, you can text, you can check me out on my social media, JoAnn Keahey Realty, or www.joannkeahey.com.
Okay. And how do you spell Keahey?
Keahey. But the easiest way is just to call me. Unless you're a spam caller, I will call you back.
All right. And that phone number one more time is?
770-540-7610.
Awesome. Thank you very much, JoAnn. Like, subscribe, comment down below, and please follow the podcast. We'll see you next time on Mind Your Own Business.